we got to talk about the Bills beating the Lions. Was this the Super Bowl matchup preview? I don't know. Was it, ladies and gentlemen? Was this the Super Bowl matchup preview? A lot of people said yes. The Pittsburgh Steelers and Eagles game was also the other potential Super Bowl matchup that I know everybody else was talking about. And let me tell you, the game, it was entertaining, guys. The game, that was a very entertaining game. Very entertaining game. Um, to me, in my opinion, a lot was said on this game. More for the Lions than the Bills, to be honest with you. I think a lot more was said more for the Lions than the Bills in this particular game. But the Bills did what they were supposed to do. At 11-2, the Bills went to, 10-2, the Bills went to Detroit in the dome and they beat the 12-1 Detroit Lions. Do I still think the Lions are going to be the ones coming out in the 1 seed for the NFC? Yes, I do. I do. I still think that they're going to be the one representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. But the Buffalo Bills, they definitely showed you they found a way to beat them. And like I said last week, I had this game penciled in as the absolute loss for the Bills. But I said this last week, all season, by the way. But I said last week, the one thing I was so disappointed about and mad is that the Bills got a chance to have the dress rehearsal versus the Rams. And to me, that is the only reason why the Bills won this game. They had a dress rehearsal already. The Bills team had to go up against the Rams last week. And it ended up being 44-42 Rams win. But they were that defense, that Bills defense was able to go up against a team with all their players healthy and back, be the high-powered offense we've known for them to be. The same one that won the Super Bowl. So for me, that game right there gave them the dress rehearsal they needed to be able to come up to another high-powered offense and play um versus the what do you call it? Play versus the Lions. That's where we're at right now when it comes to the Buffalo Bills, ladies and gentlemen. And this could absolutely be a Super Bowl matchup because none of these teams have won a Super Bowl. The Lions haven't won. The Bills haven't won. Bills have been there. Lions have never been there. But the Bills have been there. So taking a look at this, Josh Allen had another huge game to lift Bills to a 48-42 victory that snaps Lions winning streak at 11. It was the all-time best 11-game win streak they ever had as a franchise. So congratulations to the Lions on having that. They've made a lot of strides. Josh Allen took a shotgun snap, moved up in the pocket and backed up, rolled to the left and threw right. According to the AP, that is just a simple example of Josh Allen's ability to scramble and to keep plays going. As you can see, the only time there was no scoring done was the first quarter, and this is where the Lions lost the game. That Bills defense was able to clamp down on the Lions and not get them to get any score off, not even a field goal. And to me, that set the tone for the game, in my opinion. Very, very interesting, but that definitely set the tone. Obviously, Josh Allen with the two rushing touchdowns that he got in that first half, that first quarter. Then you had James Cook getting another running touchdown. um, which they obviously needed. I'm very, very, very interested into now. Granted, we know the Lions were missing Hutchinson, their number one defensive player, number 97. Shout out to him. Awesome guy. And they were missing a couple other guys on defense. But that's no excuse. Their offense was there and it was alive and kicking. The Lions still put up points, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of the half, it was still only a one score game. 21-24 Bills at that point. Now I will tell you this. What won this game for the Bills absolutely was the running game. And you can definitely tell specifically in the red zone run game. That, in my opinion, is what allowed for them to get so many rushing touchdowns. No, you can't really do that. Obviously, Shakir gets that 3 yard pass from Allen to score again. Amon Ra with that 66 yard pass. Man, that was a beauty. To end the third quarter, it was an absolute beauty. I don't care what anybody says. That was a really good throw right there. And you see it, field goal by the Bills, touchdown by the Lions, another touchdown. But there was zero defense in that second half. That's when you knew it was like, okay, defense took the day off now, or took the half off. And at no point, though, ladies and gentlemen, did the Lions lead in this game. One thing I will tell you that might be a concern for the Bills is that the Bills defense kind of thought they were playing the Jacksonville no, not the Jaguars, because they don't ever play well versus the Giants. But the defense, you could have thought that they were playing, I don't know, what's a bad team? Carolina Panthers. With the way that they took off the foot off the pedal. You can tell the defense definitely that second half, the defense definitely scaled back in that game, allowing for the Lions to essentially come back. And Jared Goff, still an MVP candidate, he was still able to take advantage of the opportunities that defense was giving him. And that's when you're getting so many back and forth. Jared Goff putting his team in positions to win, and you can see Gibbs with that passing touchdown from Goff. He also had that 1 yard rushing touchdown as well. Even Jameson with another touchdown with 12 seconds left. And you know what? In my opinion, this game, and I said it before the game ended, Dan Campbell is going to cost him this game because he made another fatal flaw like he did last year in the NFC playoff game. An NFC playoff game, not the last fourth and whatever, which I think it was 4-3 that they went for it. It was the second to last fourth down play that they went to that, in my opinion, cost the Lions the NFC Championship game. And the same thing in this particular game. Dan Campbell earlier in the game was a little bit too aggressive. I'm all for being aggressive, dude. Everybody knows the Lions love to be aggressive. But Dan Campbell made yet again, and I think that's because he's a young head coach. He's gonna get his lumps. He's gonna take his lumps. He needs to learn from these lumps, though. And the fact that he could be a little too overly aggressive. And to me, he cost his team an opportunity to win this game earlier. I believe it was, let me see, I think it was the third quarter, if I'm not mistaken. You don't want that. You don't want to cost your team making those fatal coaching mistakes, and that was on him. He went for what he shouldn't have. and allowed for the Bills to get the opportunity to get a short field. And you can't do that when you have a team like the Bills that are humming, as you will, later on in the season. You can't give them all these extra opportunities. You had Jared Goff, 38 of 59, 494 yards, 5 touchdowns. My Lord, almost 500 yards. That's crazy. Josh Allen, 23 of 34, 362 yards, 2 touchdowns. You had James Cook, 14 carries, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns for the Bills. Jameer Gibbs, 8 carries, 31 yards, 1 touchdown. Johnson for the Bills, 5 receptions, 114 yards, and Alvin Ross St. Brown, 14 receptions, 193 yards passing. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know what this tells me here? The Bills defense said one thing and one thing only. We're not going to let your running game beat us. So, Jared Goff, you're going to have to beat us with your arm. You're going to have to beat us with your arm, and you can tell that's exactly what happened. The Lions were only favored by 2.5 points. Essentially, this was a pick 'em game. This was a 50-50 game. Jeez. Over 1,000 yards in offense. That's insane. Both teams, ladies and gentlemen, with over 500 yards in offense. 559 for the Bills, 521 for the Lions. The Bills won the turnover battle with getting that one turnover from them, and the first down was pretty much even. 28 for the Bills, 30 for the Lions. Same thing with the time of possession. It was somewhat even, but the Bills did get 33 minutes versus the 27 minutes the Lions had. This was a forced field, ladies and gentlemen, in Detroit. This was a crazy game. And I'll tell you this. I'm not too surprised that this game ended up being the way that it did. So, we all expected it to be a shootout, in my opinion. And that's exactly what we got, ladies and gentlemen. That's exactly what we got. But you can see here the lack of production for the Lions, and you can credit the Bills defense for that. In that first quarter, man, that was tough. That was tough. So I totally understand why. Again, I had the Bills losing this game the entire season up to when I saw the Rams game, and then I knew nope. So I picked the Bills to win this game, and I was right. I didn't think it was gonna be in the 40s. So I think I put both teams in the 30, maybe like a 38, 35. I gotta see what I ended up putting as my score, but I did have it where the Bills were gonna win this game only because they already had the dress rehearsal versus the Rams. And that's when I knew, yep, they're gonna end up winning that. So I'm not entirely too surprised that that ended up being the outcome of that